Welcome to Everyday Cooking with Ann. Today it's in the middle of the summer and we're going to be making bacon shrimp potato salad with cayenne pecans. This is a very special potato salad and you want to make it for special occasions because it takes there's a few steps to it which we'll show you today. We're also going to be serving this with our pigs in a blanket because our friends that are coming over have small children. So it's a little something for the kids and for the adults. But if you've ever made my pigs in a blanket, you know that it's special for adults too. Everybody loves it with the fresh dough. And anyway, we don't need to go into that tonight because I'm going to show you how to make this wonderful potato salad. So let's get started and I'll show you all the ingredients. Start off, we're going to use these really wonderful small mini red and yellow potatoes, or white potatoes. And I'm putting them in a frying pan because we're going to kind of dry them up at the end so that they're all perfectly cooked. But I'm going to go ahead and put this, I put a little salt on them, and these are going to get started right now. And you want to boil these till they're just barely tender. So I'll be checking these in a few minutes. So meanwhile, while these are boiling, this takes maybe 15 minutes to prepare. And then we're going to come over here to this pan, and I'm going to show you how to make the cayenne pecans, and they're so delicious. So I'm going to start off with just about a tablespoon of butter, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to turn this on and melt it. And we want to melt this, and we're going to melt the butter here a little bit. Now the other way in my recipe that you will see is that you can actually mix melted butter with your pecans and the spices and a little bit of that touch of cayenne pepper. And you can put it in your 350-degree oven and you can toast it that way. But I'm too impatient to do that. And most of the time I make this salad with just a little bit of butter in my frying pan, which is melting right now. Okay, the butter's melted. I'm throwing in a cup of whole pecans. And I'm going to sprinkle about a half a teaspoon of salt on here. And about a quarter teaspoon, half a teaspoon of ground cumin. I'm putting a little in my hand here. I'm not really measuring because this is going to go on the pecan mixture as well. I'm going to mix this up and let this start toasting a little bit. These are so unique and different. So it has a little bit of the cumin, which is spicy, a little bit of salt. And then the other special ingredient, which you don't want to overdo, but you do definitely want about an eighth to a quarter teaspoon of ground cayenne pepper. This is really kind of hot and spicy, so depending on what your level of liking spice is, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this on here to give this a little bit of zip, and it's probably about an eighth of a teaspoon. Okay, now you want to stir these pecans the whole time until until the butter is browned and the pecans have started to brown a little bit too. Because what you don't want is burnt pecans and burnt butter. So I've turned this down to medium. And I'm just going to let this go until I am finished. These will have to cool in the pan before we put it on our salad anyway. So this is why we're taking care of this job while the potatoes are cooking as well. I'm going to turn these on high. Now I am just to add a little bit of more spice to this because I love the sweet and the sour. This is going to give you the kind of the sweet and sour pecan taste. Okay, these are browning up nicely. I'm going to turn it off because I don't want those pecans to burn. Okay, we're going to set this aside and cool until time. And the other ingredient we're going to be putting in our salad is bacon. I've already made the bacon. We're going to be keeping the bacon grease, and I'm going to show you in a little bit how to make the dressing that will go with this bacon shrimp pecan. So let's get back in just a couple minutes and we'll make the dressing. Okay, we've made the pecans. Our potatoes are still boiling. They should be done in about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on this is the pan that I made my bacon in. And part of the salad requires the bacon dripping. So I'm going to heat those up right now. And I'm going to be sauteing about a half a cup of green chopped onion. And with that, this is going to saute right in this pan that has my bacon grease. So I'm turning this up a little bit to get that going. To that, I'm going to add now, the best thing you can put in the salad is fresh dill and fresh parsley, but I didn't have any on hand. And if you don't have it, we're making the dressing, no one will really notice the difference. Only you, if you've used fresh before, you know it is always the best. So it calls for a tablespoon of dill, and I'm just going to be putting in a teaspoon of this because that's about concentrated what it would be. So I'm going to put the dill in here. This gives it a really unique flavor. And it also calls for a couple of tablespoons of parsley, and I'm going to put in a couple of teaspoons of dried parsley as well. Okay. All right. And let me saute this just a little bit with the seasonings because you want to meld those flavors really nicely with the onion. I'm going to turn down my potatoes to low because they're boiling a little much more than I need them to be. You want to have these onions nicely cooked in this bacon grease. Meanwhile, I got all of my bacon kind of shredded up into small bits and pieces that's going to go in the salad, so it's ready to go. Also, meanwhile, I'm going to show you quickly that I've already drained some shrimp here, and it's ready to go in too. So this is pre-cooked shrimp ready to go in the salad, about a pound or more, a bit more. Okay, to give this a little bit of kick, we're going to use this, a half a cup of aged sherry vinegar. I bought this special for this salad because it called for a sherry vinegar. So I'm going to put that in here and let this continue to meld with the spices. I'm going to want to add a nice little bit of salt and pepper. You can put that to taste later if you want to add a little bit more. And those are our spices. And now I want to add a good couple of tablespoons of honey. This is going to sweeten the vinegar. So I'm just, as you see, eyeballing this. In the recipe, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, you don't have to, but this is the way I roll much of the time. Okay, that's probably about a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to turn this on low a little bit and let this cook up and steam up a little bit with that vinegar and honey. See if that will thicken. I'm going to add a little bit more of this. You know, you might think, oh, this is a little bit too much trouble. I at least make this once a year every summer, and it is a huge hit at every place I've ever taken it. So if you're going to have a special salad that you want to impress your guests, especially if they like sophisticated tastes like Cayenne pecans and shrimp and bacon in a potato salad. Okay, we're going to do that, and now I'm going to take this off the heat. I'm going to go ahead and put this in one of my little bowls here, so that I can whisk in the olive oil now. So I have a cup of olive oil right here, and I have a little wire whisk here. And I'm going to add half a cup of olive oil to this as I'm whisking it in. It's kind of hot. And this, of course, needs to cool before you put it on the salad. Although, these potatoes are almost done. And you want to meld with your hot potatoes this hot bacon salad too. You can see it makes quite a bit, but what you're going to want is, what's going to make this so delicious is that you are going to put this on the potato salad and let the flavors meld into the hot potatoes. I'm going to check my potatoes now. I'm going to take this off the heat, and I'm going to go drain this right now in my colander. And then I'm going to keep the potatoes in the pan to dry out just a little bit. So I'm going to take them over to the sink and drain. The special ingredient in this salad is yellow mustard seed. Let me show you what that looks like. It just has little teeny seeds right inside here, and you need about a whole teaspoon of those. And what I do is I put the seeds in a little Ziploc bag or just a little baggie like this, and I take my my metal mallet, and I crush those seeds because they have to be crushed. So I found that's the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to measure this out. It's supposed to be about a teaspoon. It might be a little bit more, but it's perfect. So now these are crushed mustard seed. That's pretty nifty. That goes right here in the dressing too. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my potatoes back in the pan so that they will dry up a little bit. I'm going to turn the heat back on. And I want these potatoes to just dry in the pan for a little bit. I'm now slicing these warm potatoes. They're a little bit hot because they've been drying out in the pan, and they're nice and hot, which is what we want because we want the salad dressing to meld in with the hot potatoes. So I'm doing this first, and then what we're going to do is add in some red onion, and also we will be adding everything else except for the shrimp, which we'll be putting some of our dressing on as well to meld in the refrigerator. So let's get this done first, and then I'll show you how to put the whole thing together. Hot potatoes are all in the bowl right here, sliced nicely. What's nice about these potatoes, of course, you don't have to peel them, which makes it a lot easier to make a potato salad. I'm going to go ahead and put a half a cup of red onion on here because this will be marinating well as well. And here's my dressing. I'm also going to be adding half of the pecans on top right now and half of the bacon. Now these will be a garnish as well. But I'm going to be putting in 2/3 of a cup of this dressing on top and mix it. Okay. And the rest of it I'm going to be putting on my shrimp. And I'm going to be putting it in the refrigerator for this to marinate and meld with the dressing before we add it to the salad in about an hour. So you want to make this early in the day so it can sit out at room temperature. The salad will sit at room temperature, which I'm going to mix right now into the dressing. All of the potatoes, the hot potatoes, will meld with the bacon and all the spices from the dressing. And just keep kind of mixing this up every few minutes when you get a chance to make sure that all of it's being covered and marinating really nicely. And we'll be putting the shrimp in the refrigerator until time to mix. I just took out our marinating shrimp that was in the refrigerator for about an hour, and our other salad ingredients, which were really hot and warm when we put the dressing on, has cooled down a bit. I'm going to add the shrimp right now to the salad, and I'm going to totally mix this together. I'm going to add a few more pecans and keep a little bit of the bacon and pecans to put on top. So I'm trying to get all of the rest of the salad melted back in with the shrimp. And I'm going to go ahead and put this into my salad bowl. Okay, we're ready to serve our salad. It's garnished with the bacon and the pecans, and the shrimp is in there. It's going to be great. This will go great, like I said, with our dinner we're having tonight, because we are serving pigs in a blanket, which is a great summer food, great for kids and adults. This is more of an adult salad, so that's why we have to do something for the kids. We hope you'll subscribe to our channel and like and share it with other people if you think that they will enjoy this recipe, because it is awesome. Thanks for watching again.